It's Thursday, July 30th, 2026, and you are listening to Blue Lightning Daily, the show that's built by machines but emotionally supported by two humans who keep yelling, "Stay on," brief into the void. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. And yes, this whole episode was cooked up by a fully automated AI pipeline, which means if we suddenly start talking like we're in a shampoo commercial, that's just the robots getting creative.
Today's main story is OpenAI basically subtweeting developers in documentation form. They're like, hey, stop using GPT-5.6 Sol like a cute little chat widget. Run it like an agent.
Chat widget behavior is so real, like people are still treating these models like, hey bestie, write a caption, and then wondering why their automation falls apart halfway through a campaign.
Exactly. The push is to move from chat completions to the responses API, and OpenAI's pitch is spicy, but you can get dramatically better multi-turn automation without changing the model weights, just by changing how you call the model.
Which is kinda unhinged because it implies we've all been driving a Ferrari in first gear. Like, congrats, you built an agent, and then you made it communicate through a straw.
The core upgrades they're highlighting are retained reasoning and context compaction. Those sound academic, but they map directly to creator pain. Like, why did my agent forget the brand voice after 5 turns pain?
Or why did my YouTube series Bible get ignored and now episode 3 is suddenly in a different universe? It's like the model got bored and started a spin-off.
So let's unpack the stop treating it like a chat widget thing. The most common chat widget habit that sabotages agent behavior is the constant full resend of messy conversation history. People keep dumping everything back in, hoping it remembers the important bits.
Yeah, and half the time your history is like 3 different directions, some jokes, a half-baked prompt, then you saying, actually, wait, ignore that, and then you're shocked the agent is confused.
Totally. Chat completions was built around messages in, message out. Great for conversation, not great for an operator that needs to pursue a plan and run tools and not get distracted by your earlier vibes.
Responses is more like, here's the job, here's structured output, here's tool use. And if you want, I can keep state without you repasting the entire novel every time. That last part is the big one.
Yeah. State can be carried forward through chaining. That means less of that creator ritual where you re-explain your whole project every single day like it's Groundhog Day, but with brand guidelines.
Okay, but hold up. Retained reasoning sounds like it's remembering the plan, but where's the line between helpful continuity and confidently wrong, but consistently? Because that's the scariest flavor of wrong.
Great question. If the model latches onto a flawed assumption early, retained reasoning can make it persist that mistake more reliably. Before, it might rederive and accidentally correct itself. Now it might be like, no, we agreed the CTA is by my course mortal and it will stick to it.
So basically, it's a better employee, but also a better employee at being wrong. Love that for us.
This is why harness design matters. You want retained reasoning, but you also need checkpoints. Like after a few steps, force it to restate constraints from the brief, or verify facts against sources, or reload a canonical project spec that you control.
That's my favorite creator sanity check. Repeat the brief back to me in plain English and tell me what you're doing next. If it can't do that, it's already drifting into its own passion project.
Exactly. And context compaction is the other big lever. This is OpenAI admitting that massive context windows are not the same as usable memory. Compaction compresses older context to preserve what matters and trim the junk.
Which is great, but also terrifying because sometimes the boring details are literally the job. Like, the client's legal disclaimer must be exactly this sentence. That is boring and also the entire paycheck.
Yep, so teams should be terrified of losing the non-sexy constraints, product names, forbidden claims, brand tone rules, platform specs, talent release details, the exact spelling of someone's name.
Or the one line that says, do not use this song, and then compaction is like, noted, they like music.
So practical move for creators, keep a pinned, authoritative brief outside the chat history. Treat it like your style guide and your deal memo had a baby. Then feed that in as a stable input each run, so compaction doesn't accidentally sand it down.
Hunter just described don't put mission-critical stuff only in vibes.
Pretty much. And here's where the bigger industry tea comes in. The ARC AGI-3 chatter. People noticed that the same GPT-5.6 Sol supposedly jumped a lot on that interactive agent benchmark when the harness used retained reasoning and compaction. No new weights, just better plumbing.
Which means we are officially in the era where model quality is also who wrote the least cursed orchestration code.
Yes. Benchmarks are setups, not just models. If you change the harness, you can make the same model look like a different model.
And for creators, the takeaway is not go chase benchmark points. It's your content pipeline might be failing because your wrapper is janky. Like, you might not need a new model. You might need a better system.
Exactly. And that dovetails with what we've been seeing across the ecosystem this week. Nvidia and partners launching that Open Secure AI Alliance, focusing on agent permissions and auditing. That's not a sexy headline, but it's the grown-up version of agents.
Right, because agents are cool until your agent does destructive ops. Like, it's funny when it deletes a folder in a demo. It's not funny when it nukes your client's asset library on a Friday.
The one permissioning rule I'd tattoo on every AI product manager is default read-only. Anything that can delete, publish, or spend money needs explicit gated approval.
Cosign. Also, separate draft from ship. An agent can generate, organize, rename, propose, but when it's time to post, send, delete, or overwrite, it should tap a human on the shoulder like, hey bestie, you sure?
And it's interesting because Google's rebrand of Notebook LM into Gemini Notebook with more workflow upgrades and in-notebook code execution is also part of this same trend. Tools are moving from chat with documents to run real work loops.
Also, Meta rolling out Muse image with provenance watermarking and a detection tool. That's the other side of agentic media ops. If content is easier to generate, proof and verification becomes the new flex.
Speaking of proof, Riley, voice clone pranks are still going viral. What's the least dystopian way to prove it's really me without requiring a safe word and a blood sample?
Okay, my favorite is creators adopt a consistent, low-key authenticity marker that's hard to clone at scale, like a short visual gesture, a specific sign-off phrase that changes, or a quick live capture moment baked into big announcements. Not security theater, just friction.
That, like a creator's version of a watermark, but human.
Exactly. And for brands, you can also do signed posts through official channels, like verified accounts plus a consistent posting cadence. The goal is making impersonation harder and less profitable, not making life impossible.
Now, back to OpenAI's practical impact. If you're a creator team building a multi-step pipeline, this responses API push matters because most real workflows are not one prompt. A script becomes a shot list becomes prompts, prompts become clips, clips become selects, selects become edits, edits become captions, thumbnails, metadata, cut downs.
And somewhere in there, the model usually forgets the original goal and starts giving you, like, motivational quotes.
Responses is basically OpenAI saying, we built a more agent-friendly execution path. Use it. Structured outputs, typed responses, better chaining, optional statefulness.
But I'm going to challenge you. Is this a must-do migration for every creator tool today? Or is it more like nice upgrade if you're doing serious automation?
It's not mandatory if you're just doing single-turn generation. If you prompt for a caption or thumbnail text once and you're done, you're fine. But if you're orchestrating multi-step pipelines, tool use, or long-running threads, this is where you'll likely feel the difference.
Also, migration isn't just flipping a switch, right? Because output parsing changes. People have code expecting the old shape, like the classic choices message content pattern.
Yeah, it's not hard, but it's real work. You're moving to structured outputs and different fields, like output.caxt as a convenience plus typed items. If your pipeline is brittle, this is the moment to make it less spaghetti.
And cost-wise, retained reasoning and compaction can cut waste. But if you crank deep reasoning on every tiny task, you can also make things slower and pricier.
Exactly. Use reasoning where it pays off. Planning, multi-step tool loops, long-form continuity. Don't spend it on write 3 hashtag options.
So if I'm a solo creator, what's the simplest way to benefit from this whole agent shift without becoming an API goblin?
2 moves. 1, in whatever tool you use, look for agent mode or workflows that are clearly built on the newer responses-style orchestration. 2, structure your briefs. Even if you're not coding, give the AI a stable project spec and ask it to checkpoint. That's basically manual harness design.
Manual harness design is such a fancy phrase for stop prompting like you're texting.
Guilty.
And for marketing teams, this could reduce the big pain reruns. When a long thread goes weird, people rerun it, pay again, lose time again. If compaction and retained reasoning reduce drift, you save money and sanity.
But keep expectations grounded. This doesn't mean your app magically triples in quality. Arc AGI 3 is a specific interactive environment. Your workflow might not map perfectly.
Still, the direction is clear. OpenAI is saying integration path is part of performance now. The API choice is not a detail, it's the product.
And that's the creator lesson of the week. The model is only half the story. The harness is the other half. The boring plumbing is where reliability lives.
Which is tragic because I want the magic. But fine. I will accept that magic needs a little infrastructure.
We'll take it. All right, that's the episode. Thanks for hanging with us on Blue Lightning Daily, the show that's fully automated and occasionally possessed by its own context window.
Go check out bluelightningtv.com for AI news and updates, and subscribe so you don't miss when the robots learn a new personality.
Catch you next time.